Imagine feeling done with work at 65, only to learn you've been missing out on thousands of dollars you earned. That's what happened to Henry Brooks, a tired retiree from a quiet Michigan town, but a surprise Social Security audit turned his life around. Stay with me to find out how he got a second chance and what it could mean for you. Henry Brooks was a man who loved his simple life in Grand Rapids, Michigan. At 65, he had thinning gray hair, warm blue eyes, and hands marked by years fixing cars. He lived in a cozy house with a small porch where he'd sit with his coffee, watching the leaves fall. His wife, Clara, had passed away. It helped him buy food and keep the heat on during cold winters. Henry thought he'd figured. He signed up for Social Security at 65, expecting it to be enough, like a steady rain for his garden. But he felt tired and a little lost without work, often saying, "I've done my part." He didn't check his payments closely, figuring the government knew what he was owed. One day, a letter came from the Social Security Administration, but he set it aside, thinking it was just routine. Social Security is like a loyal friend that pays you back for your hard work after you retire. Sometimes they do audits, special checks, to make sure you're getting the right amount, like a gardener trimming plants to help them grow better. Henry didn't know it, but that ignored letter was the start of an audit that would change everything for him. This wasn't just about money for Henry. Without extra cash, he couldn't fix the porch steps that creaked or buy a new coat for the winter. He missed Clara's cooking and felt a quiet sadness sitting alone. His neighbor, Joyce, a 68-year-old widow, brought him soup, but he wondered if he'd ever feel hopeful again. Could that audit letter hold a surprise to lift his spirits? Have you ever felt like giving up after a big change? Share your story. When he finally opened that SSA letter, it said they were doing an auditor review of his records and asked for old pay stubs from the garage. Confused, he rummaged through a box in his attic, his back aching as he climbed the ladder. He found dusty papers, but many were missing, and he worried he'd messed up his retirement. Why now? Missing 5 years that could add thousands to his benefits. But they needed proof, and Henry's records were a mess. He called the SSA at 1-800-772-1213, his voice shaky, and they said, "Send what you have, but it might not be enough." The porch steps wobbled more each day, and he stayed inside, avoiding the cold. The senior center said the audit might take months, and Henry's heater broke, leaving him shivering. Would the SSA find his missing years and send the money before winter got worse? The missing money wasn't just numbers, it was dreams. Henry had hoped to visit Clara's favorite park one last time or buy a warm blanket for his chair. Now he feared he'd be stuck, unable to enjoy his retirement. Joyce noticed his frown and asked, "What's wrong?" He told her about the audit, and she patted his hand, but he felt ashamed for not keeping better records. His nights were long, the house quiet except for the wind, and he wondered if he'd lost his chance. Henry tried to fix it himself. He called. One friend sent a letter about his work, but it wasn't clear. He visited the library, where a young worker helped him use SSA.gov to check his account. The website showed a lower payment than he deserved, and his heart sank. They helped Henry gather what he had: pay stubs, the friend's letter, and sent it to the SSA. The volunteer said, "It's like planting a seed. It takes time to grow." The porch steps creaked louder, and he used a chair to avoid them. Have you ever been surprised by something you didn't expect? Comment below and tell me how you handled it. Henry held on with Joyce's help. He kept calling the SSA, his voice growing steadier, and the senior center checked his case. After 4 months, a thick envelope arrived. Henry's hands trembled as he opened it. Audit complete, it said. The SSA had added his 5 missing years, granting him $15,000 in back payments and raising his monthly check by $300. He sat at his kitchen table, tears in his eyes, patting the table where Clara used to sit. Joyce smiled, saying, "You earned this, Henry." Henry got a cozy coat and planned a trip to Clara's park, feeling her spirit with him. He planted new flowers by the porch, their colors bright against the Michigan snow. Joyce joined him for coffee, and the house felt alive again. Henry wasn't rich, but he had a new start. The SSA set up an online account for him to track his payments, like a window into his money. Henry felt like he'd found a hidden path with the audit as his guide. Please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. Ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. And Henry's story teaches us 2 things. Second, save your work papers, like keeping a photo album of your life. It can help if there's a mistake later. Henry's porch felt like a new place. He knew he had more time to enjoy. Are you starting something new in your later years?